Good afternoon. This is Robert Cornicellli, National President for Veterans for America First. And with me today, I have Governor Rhoden from the great state of South Dakota. Welcome, Governor.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks, Robert.
You come highly recommended by Senator Hulse, and I did my research. And there are certain people who are politicians. They say what they have to say to get elected, and then you never hear from them again. And then there are elected officials. I consider you an elected official. You're one of these guys who, when people express concerns, especially in the veteran community, you act. And that's an amazing quality. So thank you for all you do for veterans.
I appreciate that. We take a lot of pride in South Dakota for being veteran friendly, and as governor and commander in chief, it stepped it up a notch or two for me, and so we love our veterans in South Dakota, and we do everything we can to take care of them.
When I was escaping the tyrannical state of New York, I looked at three states: Texas, South Dakota, and South Carolina. And I let my wife choose, obviously, because they have to be happy or you're not.
Yeah.
But I really love the idea of South Dakota and that ranch mentality and bringing my kids up in that heartland of, especially my young son who's 11. To be a man, you have to be raised where things that you get have to be earned. And I wanted that on the ranch style where you go out there and you take care of the animals, you take care of your farms, you do all those things before you get to go have fun. But she wanted South Carolina. It was a little closer to the coast. But you have a great state. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You have an amazing state, and there are several things that we look at when it comes to giving an endorsement. One is the things that elected officials do that make veterans and service members feel appreciated. And the second are action items, things you do that protect veterans, protect their benefits, protect their livelihood. And you do them all. I mean, I think recently you passed a bill that creates a welcome home to Vietnam Veterans Day.
Sure.
That was recent, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But, it's hard to keep track because we do a lot of things, especially during legislative session. In recent years, I was still in the legislature, they created a standalone committee for Veterans Affairs, legislative committee. And so there are a lot of bills every year dealing with veterans and veterans benefits.
Well, I'm happy that you passed that day for Vietnam veterans. They are the forgotten veteran demographic, and
Yep.
we do everything at Veterans for America First for them, especially in one of the bills we wrote that anyone who serves in Vietnam or served in Vietnam, not the era, in Vietnam should be 100% service connected disabled. We're going to pass that bill. They really got a hosing when they came home, but you also made May Veterans Month was amazing. But one thing that really got me that you passed was that what was it? Bill 1238, where you protect veterans from predatory lenders, predatory people providing services. Sir, that is huge. And the fact that you did that was one of the sole reasons why I had to reach out to you. For too long, veterans have been getting, and seniors get taken advantage of by these scammers. So I can't thank you enough for passing that.
Yeah. Yeah, and and I appreciate the support for Vietnam veterans. I had an older brother that was a Vietnam veteran, and they paid a big price for their service. And I know my brother is very obliged to the United States of America, and he was a career veteran, and but he paid a pretty steep price for his service in Vietnam.
They all did, and they came back and they were scorned. They were spit on, and it was very sad what happened to that group. And there was politics, and there should be
Yep.
no politics in um, in veteran care or veteran recognition.
Yep.
So tell me, in South Dakota, what makes it so great for veterans to one of the things that I like to do in Veterans for America First is try to get veterans out of these states that crush them with taxes, crush them with regulation, just overburden them. And normally the VA care in blue states is horrendous. I want to start pushing veterans through our networks into South Dakota, South Carolina, Texas, Florida, Georgia, those places. Just help me send veterans to South Dakota. Tell me what's so great about South Dakota.
Well, I think most of it is just the people in South Dakota. I think about my father. I grew up in a family of veterans. My grandfather served in World War One. My father served in World War II. Of course, I had a son, a brother that was in Vietnam, a son that flew Black Hawk helicopters. But I grew up, on the ranch where, neighbors helped neighbors, and there were a ton of war veterans in this area. So uh, they'd get together and they'd talk about their experience in the war. So I grew up with that mentality. But South Dakota as a whole, we have a very large percentage, one of the top states for number of veterans in our per capita. And so, generally speaking, it's from the root cause of us being veteran friendly is just the respect that we have, the people of South Dakota have for their veterans. And I think uh, the biggest thing our veterans lack is just understanding that the amount of benefits that are available to them. And so I'm always beating the drums when I'm talking to veterans to get to know their veteran service officer and understand what's available, because I get questioned all the time on why don't you do this or do that. I say, well, we do. We just need to do a better job of getting the word out and let our veterans know what's available to them.
Well, out of the 50 states, I would put you in the top five of, from my community, from the things I hear from veterans, the veteran response. Your VSOs in your state, your veteran affairs in your state is probably in the top three of the responses we get. And that's a testament to your leadership. It's a testament to the leadership of some of your colleagues in the Senate and the House. And we do hear it from veterans all over that.
Appreciate hearing that.
And that's the reason why we reach out to elected officials like you. We have to highlight what you're doing. We need to get veterans out of these places where their care is subpar and into states where we know they're going to be taken care of. We come from an environment. I did 21 years. I'm 100% service connected disabled. We come from a community where everything is around you. If you're a machine gunner, you're responsible for this sector of fire. You're not worrying about food, not worrying about housing. That's there. You can depend on the people in charge of those tasks to have those tasks completed. So you could focus here. And what makes, I think, South Dakota special is it's kind of that community environment. Like if a veteran wants to set up and become a farmer or a rancher there are people in your community that would help them, which will show them the right way of doing things. And again, that's a testament to your leadership. Not many governors think along those lines.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think sometimes we forget the importance of having people in key positions that understand and have walked the walk, and especially people in elected positions that have grown up with that kind of an environment. I found out shortly after I became governor that I was the first governor, commander in chief of the South Dakota National Guard that was a former member of the Guards myself since Joe Foss was governor of South Dakota. And of course, Joe Foss was a living legend in South Dakota and a national hero.
Well, that's great to know, sir. there needs to be more people like you in elected office. There needs to be more people like you using your platform to push the people who run veteran affairs on the federal level to say, hey, we found out how much money was wasted in USAID and all this money going overseas and the fraud in Minnesota and the fraud in California. Those millions and billions could go to veterans care. And again, as a 100% service connected disabled veteran, I feel so confident that this country is on a rebound in terms of the lack of veteran care with people like you running states like South Dakota. I don't know if you understand how much that means to me and to my demographic, but you make us feel like there's security and that we're not going to be left behind. So I really want to thank you for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've thought about that, especially as I get older and look in the rearview mirror of where we came from. And of course, growing up, my ranch is just down the road. Well, just outside of Sturgis is Fort Meade, and they had the VA hospital there. And I remember growing up, going to the psych ward in Fort Meade, and the number of war veterans that were warehoused there, and they were kind of swept to the side in a lot of ways. And so, and then the Vietnam era and the terrible way our veterans were treated. And I think you're right. I think the pendulum in the United States has swung the other direction, and we need to take advantage of that. We need to use the opportunity to demonstrate our respect and put our money where our mouth is to take care of our veterans who've served and sacrificed.
Well, you don't need to convince me. We are going to convince everyone we know in South Dakota that you're not a man of words, you're a man of action. I can attest I can attest to that. Veterans for America First can attest to that. So you have, if we had stars attached to our endorsement, you'd have 5 stars for our national endorsement. You're a man who's going to make veterans in that you're not gonna know it because you're not gonna know someone committed suicide if they didn't. You are saving lives by giving veterans the care and the attention you need, and that means more than you can possibly know. You're saving lives every day, sir. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Well, I don't want to hold you up. You have a lot to do in that great state of yours. Congratulations for winning our endorsement. You're one of the few people that I can honestly say it didn't take me long to figure out that we're honored. We're lucky to be giving it to you. So thank you again.
You need to know that I am honored that you would put me in that position. So thank you very much.
You earned it, sir. And thank you so much for all you do for veterans.
Thank you, sir.
Have
Bye.
a great day.